everybody, and welcome to episode 17 of the podcast known as The Life I'm Lovin'. I am your host, Vincent. This is my co-hostess with the mostest, Scarlett. This week, fast week. Not much overtime needed, meaning streamlined work days, easygoing work nights. We are now here. It is Friday. It is the weekend. For those of you who have an Island's fine burgers and fries near you. Granted, this is probably a little late to the party, but all of April they were doing $5.99 Mai Tais every Tuesday. So Jen and I had to take advantage. So we did go this past Tuesday. We met with a couple friends, Eric and Devin and their daughter. To be honest, ladies and gentlemen, you can't beat a $5.99 Mai Tai, especially during happy hour, because all of their apps were also half off. So that was a great Tuesday. This weekend is a good weekend. Friday, we're just going to stay in, enjoy some us time with Scarlett. We're going to make some chicken enchiladas, delicious. Saturday, we're going to do some cleaning. Then we'll probably go out. TBD, we're leaving that open for us to do whatever we want to. Sunday is a good day. For those of you who know one of my best buds, his name is Kai. Talked about him during a few episodes of the podcast. I've mentioned his marathon. He's been training for it daily. That marathon is this upcoming Sunday, May the 5th, aka Cinco de Mayo. So I'm going to try and get out there. I'm going to try and support my boy, making sure that he sees me, seeing him running on pavement for a long time. Love to see my people accomplish their goals, so that'll be an exciting sight. And then after, I'm actually getting together with another friend of mine. Her name is Miranda. Her spouse, or soon-to-be spouse, Mark, is going to be in New York, so he won't be attending. They have actually given me the opportunity to officiate their wedding. And I am so blessed and so honored. Jen, myself, Miranda, and Mark's cousin, who will also be officiating the wedding, are going to be getting together for some dinner, and we're going to talk about the officiating process, what they expect of me, what I expect of them, which is to get married. It's going to be a nice day. I'm very excited for it. So one thing I talked about in last week's episode, the how's my week going? It's all right. It's a solid intro, but I think I can do better, and that's where my mind is starting to turn. The gears in there are starting to churn, and thoughts are starting to come to my brain. One of the possible new segments I thought about was doing a weekly affirmation, beginning the episode on a positive note to set your weeks, your weekends, your days off right. This episode is going to be about my experience with affirmations. They've been in my life for a while now. Me posting or discussing affirmations on a podcast or on social media is actually not new. Prior to the podcast, I was also looking up affirmations and posting them as well. So I just wanted to go through my thoughts on affirmations, personal affirmations that I appreciate and that you might appreciate too. I can't help but start the bulk of the episode without really defining what an affirmation is. So Webster's Dictionary defines an affirmation. There's two things. One, the action or process of affirming something or being affirmed. An example, he nodded in affirmation, like he nodded in approval. Two, emotional support or encouragement. Example, the lack of one or both parents' affirmation leaves some children emotionally crippled. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's fresh off of Webster's dictionary examples for the definition. Pretty aggressive. Right? That is really aggressive. Yeah, but we always give you positive affirmations, right? What do you mean we'll talk about it later? Ah, okay, you're just joking. But that second example's pretty aggressive, but true. That is something that tends to happen. For those of you that have known me for multiple years, I guess at least 7 to be specific, I actually started posting affirmations in June of 2017. So right now it's May of 2024, so very near 7 years ago exactly. And I started posting what I called daily optimisms on an app called Snapchat. Now, for those of you who aren't aware of what Snapchat is, if it's already an outdated app that's not really cool with the kids, I'm gonna give you a few details on my experience with Snapchat. So Snapchat is a app. The symbol is yellow, usually has a little ghost with his little tongue sticking out. And it was a photo sharing app, but it would only let you share photos for, I believe it was up to 10 seconds. Now, nowadays you can do a lot with the app and there's a lot more technology involved, and honestly, I don't use it as much anymore besides when Jen and I send each other memories from years past, from Snapchat's past, if you will, which now the ghost kind of makes sense on the cover of the app. It started getting hip around 2011, so that was when I was a sophomore in high school. One of my friends, I believe, had the inside scoop on the rise to fame that Snapchat has. So we were actually ahead of the game. So when I had downloaded Snapchat, believe it or not, people, I was able to set up my username as Vin, lowercase VIN. That's it. No Vin, letter, exclamation point, 3 numbers, because everything else is taken. My literal username on Snapchat is lowercase VIN. The only person on Snapchat with that username. I was ahead of the game. Honestly, it's one of my biggest accomplishments so far. But that's not here nor there. Now, these daily optimisms, they were photos that I would take when I was living at my grandma's house back then. I would take photos of a very nice plant. I would set up the photo so that the plant would be coming in from one side of the frame. I would take the photo, and then I would put a little affirmation there. Daily optimism, I would put the affirmation there and I would send it. Allow my people to kind of enjoy, read the affirmation, be like, you know what? This guy's kind of a loser, but he's a positive loser. I really appreciated that. Now, honestly, I don't know why I started doing these. All I know is what was going on at the time. Now, a couple months prior to me posting my first daily optimism, one of my good buddies had actually passed away. And he was probably one of the first big moments that I had experienced that really sat me down and made me feel a little more human than invincible. We're all children growing up, and we all think that, nothing can happen to us and that there are no consequences, everything's just a slap on the wrist and you move on. The passing of this friend really had myself looking in the mirror. He was our age. He was going to school. Just started, I believe, his first or second semester at UCLA. And one of my buddies who had gone to school with him, Dabu, great man, gave me a call, gave me a ring while I was in San Francisco, and he told me the news, and it was heartbreaking. I believe a couple weeks later, we ended up all driving down. We went to the funeral. There was a big meal after. We shared some words. We laughed with our people about stories that he was a part of. And I think that really maybe pushed me into a direction of positivity. And not only trying to be positive for myself, but trying to be positive for the people around me. So on top of that happening, I'd also finished my first year in college at San Francisco. Now, after my first semester around December, I really wanted to come back home. I did want to move back, but as much as I wanted to, I never wanted to pull the trigger on it. So I stayed, I finished that whole year, and then I had gone home for the summer. So June, July, and I believe I came back maybe mid-August of 2017. So I started doing these affirmations while I was at home. And I had known Jen, my wife. I had known her through work. I had started Buffalo Wild Wings, Wings Beer Sports, not sponsored, that same year in January. So I had been there for a few months, and I went home for a few months, and I was very lucky. The day I actually moved back to San Francisco, my manager gave me a call, and she's like, well, when can you start? Well, this is fantastic news. I thought I was going to have to find another job. But Jen and I hadn't been dating. We hadn't have made anything official yet, so that was also in the very budding stages. You know, we talked here and there, but it wasn't until after I had gotten back to San Francisco where things started getting a little more super serial. I had also just gotten my tattoo. For those of you that have seen photos of me, who know me, so what I have on my left arm is a big totem pole, but the animals are realistic. They're not like carved of wood. It's the actual faces of the animals. And so I have a bear at the bottom, which is for my mom. I have a wolf right above her, which is for my brother. I have a lion above him, which is my dad. A leopard above him for my grandma. And then above her, I have an eagle. That's for my grandpa. I want to believe that me doing these daily optimisms might have just been like a sneak preview of where I was going in my life. 7 years ago, when I was posting these, I had no idea I would be here talking about them on a podcast years later. And yet they both kind of go along the same lines of me posting to other people. Doesn't matter who sees it. I just want to give them some positivity, and what they take from it is what they take from it. So this episode, I thought I would throw it back to some of those daily optimisms that I posted 7 years ago, and just kind of reflect on what they meant to me then and what they mean to me now. I really think it's cool to look back on where certain journeys might have began, whether you knew it or not. Even if it wasn't an A to B scenario, there's a correlation there. My first affirmation is a little humorous. I was reading a book by Kevin Hart that year called I Can't Make This Up. Kevin Hart is a comedic rock star, as he says he is. He does movies. I knew him initially from comedy. He would do stand-up. He was in a couple movies. 40-Year-Old Virgin was a good one that he was in when he was younger. And then Laugh at My Pain, Seriously Funny are a couple of comedy specials that he was a part of on Comedy Central. Eventually they came to DVD, Blu-ray, what have you. But I posted this as a daily optimism. A little more humorous than the ones I'm going to go over, but I think it's a good start. So this is Kevin Hart's words. Acceptance is a drug as powerful as crack. Now I think about at that time how much acceptance was needed in my life. Just moving up to San Francisco, I moved up there in August, so it was almost a year, but I was by myself. I had a couple friends with me. I had Mark and Miranda, whose wedding I'll be officiating, awesome, and I had their friends, but I was still in the beginning stages of making my own friends, finding my crew. I think being accepted in a new school, going from elementary school in Yorba Linda, middle school in Yorba Linda, high school in Yorba Linda, community college 15 minutes away from Yorba Linda, to a state college 400 and something miles away is a big difference, and definitely out of my comfort zone, to say the least. Being accepted by my classmates. I was looking into doing after-school groups. I got a job at school as a intramural sports manager to be amongst people in school. I got the job at Buffalo Wild Wings, and I was meeting people there. But it wasn't my crew. It wasn't who I grew up with. It wasn't the area I grew up with. So finding acceptance in a new world is where I related to that. And I started understanding how much I was trying to obtain it. Maybe a little too hard. And I did notice that once I started dimming it down, not trying as hard, I ended up finding diamonds in the rough. I didn't come out there with a boatload of people that I call my friends, and I wasn't considered popular by any means, but I have a great group of friends from Buffalo, from school, from Mark and Miranda's friends that I would love to see grow and flourish, and I know that they would want the same from me. And so some people I know can get caught up in being accepted and caught up in putting on a new mask to humor this group and then changing it to humor this group. And I've been there, and I've been one of those people who doesn't like when people are mad at them or doesn't like when people don't like them, because it makes me feel negative. It makes me feel icky. It makes me feel like, well, why don't you like me type of deal. And that's not a good thing to think about. You don't want to think about why people don't like you. You just want to focus on the positives and what other people love about you. And that's something where it could be a fine line that sometimes your need for acceptance or my need for acceptance can go a little too far. And so that was something for me that, okay, if Kevin Hart has trouble with acceptance, then who am I to say that I don't have trouble with acceptance? So acceptance is a drug as powerful as crack. Yes, in today's world, with social media and TikTok and Facebook, Instagram, X, Twitter, what have you, likes, comments, followers, those are things that can be a drug if used in an incorrect way. So the next one is a lot more serious. And this one goes, the ultimate measure of a person is not where they stand in the moments of comfort and convenience, but where they stand in times of challenge and controversy. That's the main man, MLK, Martin Luther King Jr. This one, classic. I feel like a lot of people know this one. If everything's going good, you're not being challenged. If everything's going exactly as you want it to, if you're not sweating, if there's no struggle, even a little bit, you're not being challenged. There's no controversy. Now, when things are starting to get tough, it's coming down to the wire. stress is building a little bit. You got a bead of sweat coming down the side of your face. You got 10 seconds to go. Game on the line. You got the ball in your hand. You gonna freeze? You gonna shoot the shot? You gonna find the open man? Challenge. Controversy. The decision you make tells us, okay, what is this person capable of? What can they do under pressure? When you go to the gym, what makes you stronger? Working out, putting pressure, putting weight in your arms, lifting it up, putting it back down. The resistance. That's the way you get stronger. Repetition. Getting so tired that your body gets sore. Now, it's not the most comforting thing in the world, but it's getting you stronger. This quote is something I think about very often. When things get bad, I might sit in it for a bit. I might wallow. But then I think about this quote and it's like, okay, if this is the worst it gets, then it's only going to get better from here. And if it gets worse, then it'll get even better from there. That's hard to think about in the moment. Life is tough. Take your time. Feel the negativity, feel those emotions, and understand that they are valid and they are real. You have every right to feel negative during a trial, during a tribulation. Feel it, acknowledge it, then turn on the jets. Yes, well said, Scarlett. Honestly, I wish my parents told me this when I was a baby. Like when I was first beginning to walk and I fell on my butt for the first time and they like kneeled down, looked me in the eye and said, hey little V, the ultimate measure of a person is not where they stand in moments of comfort and convenience, but where they stand in times of challenge and controversy. They go eye to eye with me at 10 months old and say that while I'm on my butt after I tried to walk for the first time. Best believe I'm going to get back up. I'm going to run 10 miles. But they never said that, so I never ran 10 miles, and to be honest, I don't think I've ever ran 10 miles. So there's that. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, am I right? Right. Affirmation number 3. This is a nice one. Gracious one. Pray your head is an empty shell, wherein your mind frolics freely. This is an old Sanskrit proverb. Sanskrit is a classical language belonging to the Indo-Aryan branch of the Indo-European languages. AKA, it's approximately 3,500 years old. I've always struggled with overthinking. I've always struggled with anticipating the opinions of others. 2 things that definitely cloud my head. 2 things that don't allow my mind to frolic freely. Kind of holds them. It kind of throws them into a certain position and says, hey, you need to worry about this. When I think of this affirmation, I think of literally my mind is an empty shell. It's very light, very fragile, but unbroken. This reminds me of Easter. I think it's just because the eggs, the shell, the correlation is there. But I imagine, we're in that shell, that very thin, protective, unbroken shell. Green grass, light breeze, blue skies, fluffy white clouds. And I imagine my mind feeling that way. And you just allow yourself to take a deep breath, close your eyes, and just let it be. Even for a couple seconds. To me, I believe this is what it meant to me before as well, is simply to get rid of the overthinking. I understand that overthinking can be positive in some cases, but not all the time. Sometimes a couple deep breaths, you close your eyes, and you imagine your mind as that shell. And you imagine that green grass, that light breeze, that blue sky, those fluffy white clouds. And it feels so good. I imagine that this is how people that meditate all the time probably feel a lot more often than I do. I'm gonna be honest. I feel like I did something there. I feel like I'm going to do what I just did more often. I feel like I'm gonna read that affirmation. I'm gonna sit there. I'm just gonna let my mind become a shell. I recommend you guys do the same thing because that actually felt really good. Number 4. To succeed, you have to see how good you're capable of becoming before anyone else sees it. I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea who said it. If you guys know who said it, help. Message me. Give me that clarity. To me, this is all about being your own cheerleader, but also being your own critic. You have to understand the potential that you have in yourself for someone to acknowledge that it's in you. And then at the same time, you could have someone say, hey, you're really good at that. But if you don't accept that, and you don't use that to your advantage, then what good is it for? And that's not success, just knowing that you're good at something but not putting it to use. When I think of this, I think of artists, musicians, people who create very obscure, different things. Individualism. Some art looks really cool to me. Some art looks like lines on a wall. I might think that. Then you have Scarlett over here, looking at the piece with her little glasses on, little paws behind her back. Ah, yes. Exquisite. What a fine piece. I'll pay top dollar for it. Here's a check. Write down any amount you want, and I will pay it. Yeah, that was close to how you sound. Don't do that with me. But if you don't see the potential that you have, like if you're not drawing those lines on that board and thinking, I love this, so someone else will love this too, then you'll never put it on that wall. Then you'll never have the confidence to put yourself out there and go to someone's exhibit and say, hey, this is what I have. What do you think? You're never going to make that song, send it into a radio station. Hey, this is what I have. What do you think? I really like it. What are your thoughts? You don't like it? Someone else will. Let's move on. If you see it in yourself, one person's opinion does not matter. Because you know how successful you can be, and eventually someone's gonna see it too. That's when you strike gold. Yes, we love gold. 5th affirmation. This one I like because it's simple, but it's deep AF. Here it goes. Love. Love is appreciating that we are all little lumps in an earthly soup, which is a little lump in a larger cosmic soup. It, love, is an awareness of this beautiful, energetic relationship and a natural appreciation of this situation. Now, this one I feel like might have been from one of my books on chakras, because it's mentioning love specifically. I was very into chakras back in the day, and I still kind of am, but I haven't really dove into it as much as I did then. A chakra is a wheel, and chakras refers to the energy points in your body. So from your toes to above your head, you have the root chakra, the sacral chakra, the solar plexus chakra, the heart chakra, throat chakra, third eye chakra, and the crown chakra. Might do an episode on that at some point. But this is not about the chakras. This is about the quote. Now let me give it to you one more time, just so you can soak in that soup. Love is appreciating that we are all little lumps in an earthly soup, which is a little lump in a larger cosmic soup. Love, is an awareness of this beautiful, energetic relationship and a natural appreciation of this situation. To me, this is all about looking at the big picture. I feel like you can take this one of two ways. You can say, well, this just means I'm a lump. Or you could say, this means I'm a part of the biggest bowl of soup known to humankind. Perspective. Understanding that you're not alone. In the grand scheme of all the things love is and love could be, I think at the end of the day, to me, love is understanding that you're not alone. Just the basic root of what love is. Knowing that there's someone out there. Now you get more into it, knowing that there's someone out there that cares for you. But that awareness, that understanding that it's not just you in the soup. You're not alone. Right now I'm in my office. Scarlett and I are in here. We're not alone. The office is the bowl. Scarlett and I are the lumps. The air around us is the soup. I think we could all take time to sit down and just understand that no matter how lonely we feel, there's someone out there that understands us. There's someone out there that's willing to listen to us. There's someone out there that loves us. Even if we don't know it. Even if you hadn't met them yet. Someone out there loves exactly who you are, the way you are. I feel like that's what this affirmation is telling me. But in soup form. I think it's really cool because it's a corny affirmation. It's relating to lumps and soup. And it says lumps and soup multiple times. But it also relates to one of the biggest pictures you can possibly look at. At the end of the day, we're all just a speck in what is the universe. But that means we're also a part of the universe. Our planet, our solar system, our galaxy is a part of something bigger. Without us, without the planet, without the galaxy, that whole is now less. So understand that your presence in the world is felt and is needed. Never forget that. I think at that age, there were times I think I forgot that. There were times where I thought I was the only lump in the soup. More times than I'd probably like to believe, but I refer back to MLK's affirmation. That was challenge. That was controversy. And at those times where I felt my most lonely, and I was in my darkest place, honestly, it was all uphill from there. Once I acknowledged not only was I at my lowest, but I'm not as alone as I think I am, everything got better. I've been there. And it feels good to simply accept. It really does. Those are the affirmations I wanted to go over with you guys from 2017. All of those I posted on Snapchat with a fancy plant from my grandma's house in 2017. I think that's so wild. I think it's so wild that I'm here to do this about those. Even today, though I don't look them up as often as I did back then, right now where I'm sitting, I can see 2 post-it notes that are above my computer screen. I put them there during the very beginning stages of this podcast, when I was trying to figure out how to do one, when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And so I wanted to read you the affirmations that I have in front of me that I can see right now on those post-it notes above my computer, to let you guys know what I need to see, what I need to say, what I need to read, to help me realize that I'm on the right path, even today. The first one is, don't worry about going out there and being great. Just be yourself, and yourself will always be good enough. This is actually from New Heights, the podcast that I've mentioned a couple times. Jason Kelce, Travis Kelce. Jason, now a former NFL football player. Travis, currently an NFL football player. I watch their podcast every Wednesday on YouTube. This is what Travis said one of his old football coaches used to say. One more time. Don't worry about going out there and being great. Just be yourself, and yourself will always be good enough. Now, looking at the affirmations that I needed 7 years ago versus the affirmations that I need today. To me, this tells me that I've found a path, and I'm now on that path, and I'm trying to figure out how to be better at moving down this path. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to get great overnight. So what this is telling me every time I read it is, you'll get better over time. But in order to get better over time, you have to be yourself every day. And as long as you keep being yourself, you'll get better. And you'll get great without even trying to be great. It's acceptance. It's accepting your individuality. Accepting that the only way to be great is to be you. Do your best. Maybe I'm more comfortable with who I am now than who I was then. So this is telling me, hey, now that you're comfortable, start going. Start going and you'll get there. Whatever you want in this life, accept yourself and move forward, and you'll get there. The next post-it note I have, I don't know who this one is from. I think I took it from a YouTube video on podcasting and I just kind of jotted it down. But this one says, tell the story you want to pass down to the next generation. I think doing these episodes does a couple things for me. You know, I always see this quote, be the person you needed when you were younger. And I really take that quote to heart. I try to make sure my people are okay. And if not, I ask what's wrong. or I let them tell me what they want to tell me. I think about our future kids. What do I want them to know? What do I want them to hear at an age that maybe they haven't gone through it yet, but now they're a little more prepared than if they hadn't listened to these episodes? Be yourself. Be confident in yourself. And understand that every day is an opportunity to get better. And the days that are hard is an opportunity to get even better. The lessons that I learned, the affirmations that I've heard, the things I've gone through, I wish I could share this with my younger self. I wish I could share this with the me that was doing these affirmations in June of 2017. I wish I could tell him, do you realize in 3 months, you're gonna get off work at 3 a.m. and the love of your life is gonna ask you to a party, and 6 years from then, you're gonna get married? Come on, guys. It's so cool. And with all that being said, if you take anything from this, I suggest find things that help you piece your goals, your dreams, your ambitions together. There's so much knowledge in the world. And when times are tough, you can use the affirmations to guide you, keep you moving in the right direction. Which, for those of you who don't know, is your direction. If you feel you're on the right path, keep going. If you don't know, stop. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, allow your head to become a shell. Feel the breeze, feel the green grass, see the fluffy white clouds. Read an affirmation or two. Take a couple more steps. If you need to stop and do it again, do it. I love these. I love doing this episode. I'm just going to keep it candid with you guys. I definitely recommend, if you guys have anything that you guys may have written down, diaries, journals, notes, take a look. Take a look and try and imagine yourself then. Scarlett, you weren't even alive. You were born 3 years later after I wrote these affirmations. And look at you. You are now a lump in my soup. Don't be offended. It's a good thing. With that said, I want you guys to have some great drinks, have some great food, be around great company, listen to some great music, be around the best animals, and continue to love the life you're living. Take care.